Okay. I'm pulled over on the side of the road. Look, I'm not driving. Okay. So I don't know who this is for. Happy Love Day, by the way. But I just feel encouraged, and we praying, Holy Spirit, give me the words. I just feel encouraged to share with someone. Okay, so during the love season, we all seem to, I do need to put my car in park, though that probably would be good and appropriate. Okay, during the love season, us who are single, okay, that's not us anymore. I'm married now. Okay, so those who are single during the holiday seasons of, like, New Year's Eve, and everybody wants to go to parties and have that kiss or whatever before the new year or on the new year, and during Valentine's Day, and everybody wants to have like a Valentine and somebody to boo up with and everything like that, then it is real easy to feel like because you are single that you are alone. That is not true. Not accurate at all. Just because you are solo does not mean you are alone, because there's always one that is after your heart. There's always one who is wooing you, pursuing you, and sees you. Okay? And not only does he see you, and not only is he pursuing you, and not only does he love you, and of course I am talking about our Creator, the one true God. Not only does he do all that, but he has these marvelous, magnificent gifts. Okay? It's better than roses, it's better than cards, it's better than, bubble bath and all that stuff. It's better than champagne and everything like that. He's got these gifts for you. Okay, so here's the thing. Sometimes we feel like, unless we are in some sort of perfect spiritual place, that God is not doing things for us. Unless we are, praising him, worshiping him, going to services 3 or 4 times a week, and walking righteously and doing all the things we're supposed to do, tithing and fasting and not gossiping and not cussing, that God is not doing stuff for us. We hear things in the Christian world that makes it seem like when we're outside of, my eyes is going to keep diverting, by the way, because I'm on a highway. I'm pulled off to the side, so of course I'm paying attention. Okay, so it's like in the Christian world, for whatever reason, it's beautiful when we hear love stories that talk about, people being in the right place in the will that God had for them, and them meeting their mate and being connected, and therefore then doing all these beautiful things in the kingdom. That's great. I love that. It's inspiring. It makes you want to cry and go, oh, when I wait to get that. Okay. But guess what? When you're not in the will of God, what we, that Christianese, when you're living wildly and you're doing stuff crazy and all that stuff, God is still working. He is still loving you just the same. Not anything less, not anything more. Those who are going to church and living in the will don't get more love from him. They're just more specific, and they get to see the picture better about what he wants for their life. When you are doing things in your own accord, he is still working in the midst of everything that you're doing to still get to you the gifts that he has for you, and get to you direction and a place of peace and love and acceptance and what he has for you. Okay? Now, this is not just like an idea. Like, I know this specifically. When me and my husband met, he was a meth addict that literally, the second day we knew each other, had a full-on mental breakdown in front of me. And God was in the midst the whole freaking time, gave me a peace about it, had us sitting there while he was trying to stick a needle in his arm, and was loving on us, and was working some stuff out, and was in the midst. And I myself was so broken and confused. My dad had died. My daughter, a few months before that, had disappeared. And I had no idea if she was safe or what was going on with her. I was in a place where I really just was lost, basically. Like, you wouldn't tell that to, like, talk to me, hang out with me or whatever. I was still like whole, happy, still running my household, still doing stuff and everything like that. But spiritually, I was really, really broken, and I really had a wound that was festering. And on top of childhood trauma and issues and life that had yet to still be dealt with, that I still had closed up in a room and not allowed Jesus to get to, then I added these new, well, I didn't add them, but life added these new hurts, and I was holding on to that too. So when me and my husband met, we were both in a really broken place. We were both acting out in the brokenness. We met on Facebook dating, and he sent me a message because he wanted to hook up. And I was like, I'm full of that. I got enough of that. I don't need that. And he was like, well, what you looking for then? And I said, I'm looking for something that stimulates my mind and soul and not just my body. I was just throwing that out there. I just thought it sounded good at the moment. And he said, oh, well, good luck with that, little mama. Ain't we all? And then a few days later, we picked up the conversation, and we ain't been separate since. And that's exactly what I threw out there. What I spoke into the existence is exactly what God brought to me. Exactly what God brought to me. So your words aren't idle. But I'm saying that, but there was always something though. Like God was in the midst the whole entire time. Like when I first saw his image on Facebook dating, there was something that snatched a hold of me. And I tell people like the joke, the fact that like I was even looking at his picture, and we had liked or whatever, swiped on each other or whatever, and he had messaged me. And I remember pulling his picture up one day, and I was like, what's wrong with you, Zach? Why you ain't sent me a message? And then I went on about my business, but I was like literally talking to his picture or whatever. And the same for him. You know, he will tell you the same thing. Like the whole time the first conversation we had lasted like 10 hours. We just couldn't get enough of each other. We just couldn't, and it was just conversation. Like we just was so at ease with each other and could not stop talking, and just to absorb the same space with each other. And from the immediate being in the same physical space with each other, it was immediately like that. And what I brought to him and what he brought to me immediately was something we never got from anybody else. Both of us have been through a lot of people. Like he's been through a lot of chicks. I've been through a lot of dudes. We are not the Christian perfect love story that people would put out there on a book cover. Okay. We are that other flip side of that. And yet it is like the story of Saul turning into Paul. God did not wait for Saul to recognize that he needed to be Paul. God did not wait for Saul to recognize that he was doing things out of the order of what God wanted. He interrupted him in the midst of him doing some dirt, in the midst of him going somewhere to like he was on his way to, you know, kill Christians, and he was on his way to do damage to the kingdom and all that stuff. He was wilding out. He didn't even know it though. He didn't recognize it. He thought what he was doing was all right. And God interrupted him while he was doing that and already had a plan for him. And just, here's your options. Sometimes that's just how it works. So sometimes, y'all, I'm not saying like be out there wilding out when you know better and just keep wilding out feeling like, well, God's gonna come through and make a way. But I'm just saying, like, don't be down on yourself feeling like you got to figure out how to love. You got to figure out how to put your life into order. You got to figure out what things God has for you, or what things life has for you, or what purpose you have, because you feel like you are too far from God for him to be doing something. Because trust me, he is still in the mix the whole entire time. As I was saying, like, the second day we knew each other, second, third day, Zach literally had like a breakdown right in front of me. And in one of his most vulnerable moments or whatever, with somebody he barely knew, it was because God created this safety He and that's exactly why I'm his wife. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, he's been through a lot of chicks. He's claimed love to a lot of chicks. He's claimed, I'm always going to be with you. You're always going to be the one in my heart, blah, blah, blah. Like all that stuff to a lot of females. But the reason I got a ring on my finger, the reason I got his same last name is just because God ordained it. He put us together, and I created this area of safety for him. Like, you can't get that anywhere else. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are things that our spirits need, and the only person that understands what those things are is the one who created us. So, trying to figure it out on your own of what will bring you what you're missing is never really going to work. And even if you're not in a place where you totally trust God right now or have a relationship with him, maybe you don't even believe in God, and I promise you, he still believes in you. I promise you, he still loves you, and I promise you, he still has a magnificent plan for you, because here's how it works, okay? When me and Zach first got together, he had to do a lot of reassuring me. Because like I said, he's got a heavy past. So he's had to do a lot of reassuring me. And one day he sat there and he said to me, you never have to worry about any other female that's ever been in my past, because it was always you, because God put you here. Nobody else can take you away. God put you here. And the thing is, God has a plan for each and every one of us. I know it sounds cliche. I know you probably hear that all the time. God has an actual purpose and a plan for you. When you're living your daily life, it can feel like there is no point. Like you're just out here trying to figure things out on your own. But I promise you, he is in the midst. And what he's doing is he's allowing you opportunities for what it is he sees for you. And you don't have to take him up on those opportunities. You don't have to pay attention to them. You don't have to accept them and see what happens. He just gives you the options. He does not override us. He does not bombard us and just like snatch us up and like, this is what you need to be doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, but he will present you with opportunities that will get you to what he sees in you, what he's placed in you, and what he has set you up for. Each and every one of us are a world changer. Like, that's what we are here for. He's got something inside of us that we have to do. And see, that's the beauty of marriage, is that there's another person out there. Not that that's like the only person that's for you, but there's another person out there that also has something inside of them. And when you guys mix, when you guys come together, when you guys recognize and whatever God has put in that person, whatever God has put in you comes together, there is this kismet universe type explosion, almost like when stars are created and all that. That happens because of the majesty that was placed in them and the majesty that was placed into you. And you guys have this something that's going to come together and continue to build. And it's for God's love story. God has this amazing love story that he is carrying out with humanity. And the way that it gets carried out is through humanity. So you have a place in that love story. And part of that is the pursuing, like every good love story where he's pursuing your heart. He's after your heart. He wants things from you. He wants to give you things. He wants to commune with you. He wants to fellowship with you. He wants to help you with all those hurts and pains. Like, I don't even know how to put it into words, really. How if you do not settle and try to fix it yourself, and try to figure out who to be with in the cuddle season, and who to be with in the love season, and who to be with in certain holidays, or when you're lonely, or when you're feeling like you need someone to approve you or value you. If you do not try to figure that out on your own and just listen for God, take out a moment and listen, then I promise you He's going to do some stuff that will blow your mind. It will go far beyond the reaches of your wildest imaginations that you could ever even grasp or try to put together for yourself. There are not movies or books that are written about the love that you will experience if you allow God to work that out for you. Like, I swear that on everything that I can imagine or breathe or explain to you. I promise you. And I don't know the destination of my own part of this love story. I don't know the destination for yours. But I promise you, God will blow your mind. So I just wanted to encourage somebody that maybe is sitting at home on the news feed, on their social media, trying to look cute, trying to put their pictures up. Trust me, child, I know about it. Trying to get some attention, trying to figure out who they gonna boo up with, trying to figure out what you gonna do just to waste some time and burn some energy and find a distraction from the other issues of your life. Like, I got you. I promise. I understand. And I'm telling you that even while you feeling lost, and even while you feeling like you can't put it together, and even while you feeling like you don't understand what you're doing, somebody thinks I'm messed up right now.
You all good?
Yeah, I was just using my phone, so I didn't want to feel.
No problem.
All right, thank you. It was the highway patrol checking to make sure I'm okay. That was great. Anyway, I'm just saying, even while you think things is out of control, so therefore maybe God has turned his back on you, the world has turned his back on you, and you're going to have to figure this stuff out for yourself. I promise you that God is in the midst and he's working some stuff out. I've seen it. I've walked through it. I'm still walking through it. Like, stuff, just because I found Zach doesn't mean life is perfect. Like, he's still locked up. Like, we're still working this life thing out. Like, I still have to go to work. I still got to pay bills. I still got to take care of my kids. I still got to, struggle in this world that we got going on. But the stuff that God has done and shown us and healed in us and allowed us to be a part of and allowed us to speak into other people's lives and experience, I would have never imagined. Like, because it's Valentine's Day, we just had conversations, me and my husband, and he says the same thing. Like, 8 months ago, I never would have saw this. He said, if you would have asked me how I would feel about you 8 months ago, he said, I wouldn't have known this. I have no idea. I wouldn't have felt this. I wouldn't have figured this stuff out. Like, the stuff that God's doing in his heart, the stuff that's changing in the way he sees things and all that stuff. Like I said, the opportunities that we've had, I've had to just understand God's world in a little bit different way so that we can do what it is that he's called us to do. Mind blowing. And he's got it for each and every one of us. It's not just like we feel unique just because we know that we've experienced a lot of other relationships, and what we got going on now is so different. So we feel unique. But the God that's doing everything in our lives is not rare. He's unique, different, but he's not rare because he has your access to everybody. Like, everybody's got access to him. Like, what he wants for everybody is still there. So, sis, bro, if you're single or if you're just in a relationship outside of marriage and you're just not happy and you're just thinking like, this is just what I got to deal with, Because I've heard that from plenty of homegirls. Like, it's, he's crazy, he's this, he's that. It's sad, it's horrible, it's miserable, but that's just what you got to deal with. Just sit in God's presence for even a second. Just watch. Just let him do. And just let him speak to you. And I promise he'll blow your mind. And place you in a way into this love story for humanity that you would have never imagined ever. And it's not just for you. It's not just for the person that you love on, that he connects you with. It's for all of humanity. Like, you have a place. You have a big piece in the puzzle that's for all of humanity. Okay? So I love you on this love day. Smiles and peace and prayers for all y'all. Hope you have a good and safe night.